Xfinity Lounge. This is the PHLY Eagles kickoff show presented by Bet365 and Ashley Bo Wulf, Jamie Lynch here in studio. We will hear from EJ Smith, who was live at the game in Minneapolis in just a bit. We will hear from Fran Duffy, who's going to break down the things about this Vikings defense that are going to make this a difficult game for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense. Jamie, I feel like this game, as the 4-2 Eagles prepare to take on the 3-2 Vikings, is as curious as I have been this season about just what we're going to see from this Eagles team, because they've obviously had the half week off after the second straight loss and an ugly performance against the Giants. Do they fully bounce back and go back to the running game and this is like a dominant performance on the line of scrimmage, or do they continue sort of sliding and find it difficult to beat the allegations of this being a 2023 type season?
I think, not to be hyperbolic and takey, but I think this is the season.
Ooh.
I think this is.
I don't know what's going to happen today. I really don't know what's going to happen.
To your point, if they go and lose to Carson Wentz, one, the hoagie mouths everywhere are going to be losing their mind, rightfully so. Two, you need to. It's week 7, and we don't know what this team is. There is the potential for the slide here where they fall off a cliff. We've seen it before. It happened. It can happen again. I still believe it's a good football team. I think it's correctable. The offensive line needs to start playing more physical. The defensive line, and we'll get into that, Bo. I think there's some updates out in the universe about the defensive line.
Oh, I haven't seen this.
Yeah, I think I saw something right before we went live. But we don't know what this team is, and it's week 7, and it's kind of scary, to your point, because I don't know what we're going to see on the field today in Minnesota.
Now, how do you feel about just the prospect of going up against Carson Wentz?
We
can check out how Wentz and Hurts stack up this season. But
yeah, my sports hatred for him is past. He was part of a Super Bowl winning team.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Was he stubborn and bullheaded while he was here? Yeah, probably. But I have no ill will in my heart anymore. I let it go. The Super Bowl ring was enough. Sayonara. If they lose to him today, it'll suck. But I don't have any ill will.
I think it's less about how you feel about Wentz and more just what it would feel like to lose to Wentz and the third straight loss for the Eagles coming to him of all people.
Yeah. It's a very interesting game today.
The flip side is, if we think about that Giants game, obviously on defense, the worst performance they've had in a game under Vic Fangio, but they were without Jalen Carter and Quinyon Mitchell for most of that game. Both of those players suiting up today, and we can take a look at the inactives, but those guys are healthy. They're playing, healthy enough to play. Sam Howell down as the third quarterback. Mac McWilliams is down for this game. Drew Kendall as expected. Grant Calcaterra as well. And then a little bit interesting that A.J. Dillon, who was not listed on the injury report, is down for this game. And that also means that Xavier Gipson, the returner who's been inactive since the Eagles claimed him off the waiver wire, is active for this game. Tank Bigsby is also active, so maybe we get Will Shipley as the number 2. Maybe Bigsby's involved as a running back to some degree, but I expect that we'll see Xavier Gipson be the kickoff returner for a unit that has been the worst in the NFL.
Disastrous. It's like one of the weirdest bylines of this season is why can't they return kicks? So yeah, it's not hard to improve on what we've seen so far. So go out there, Xavier, and get them.
There we go. All right, do we have our friend EJ, Tyler? We have him, indeed. So let's hand it to Minneapolis on the Xfinity mobile call-in line and hear from our Eagles insider, EJ Smith, who broke some news this morning. What news did you break, EJ?
Yes, I feel like, I don't know if you call it breaking it, but at the same time as some other
I'm also
other
not sure
reporters
it was. Yeah, well, go ahead.
Brandon Graham is considering rejoining the Eagles, coming out of retirement to sign back with the Eagles. I think
Really?
there's real forward momentum. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't.
I haven't heard anything
I
about
feel like yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I would say that there's some momentum, some movement toward him signing maybe as early as next week, rejoining the Eagles edge rusher rotation. Obviously, the defensive line needs some reinforcement there. Zadarius Smith retired like early last week on Monday, so yeah, I think that there's a real chance that this happens. And again, I think that maybe not news to you, Bo.
A lot of positive comments in the chat. People say you're looking very drippy, that you're glowing thanks to the Aston Villa win. Maybe it's the fact that I mean, if we check the tape, did you beat out the national guys by seconds?
Maybe by seconds.
Yeah, let's go. EJ. Love that. Okay, well, obviously, listen, I imagine that PHLY will have more on the potential unretirement of Brandon Graham, something that he may be considering later this week on the Unblocked podcast with Brandon Graham.
I mean, you've been all over it, Bo.
It's certainly got
the inside track here.
But from a football standpoint, EJ, you can understand why there's an opportunity there for him.
Absolutely. I mean, he played at a high level last year. It's important to remember that. It's not like this guy, struggled throughout the season. Obviously came back from the triceps injury. And I do understand, some people who would say like he had the storybook ending through the Super Bowl, but we've talked about this on the show. It's like, if you have an opportunity to play and you turn that down, you kind of always have to wonder about that. So I do think, based on what we saw from last year, he is still capable of really giving this team quality snaps, and now they really need those quality snaps on that edge rusher rotation. So it makes sense on the field, and then even off the field, if you think about it, the leadership that Brandon Graham offers, some of the locker room dynamics. I mean, listen, we've been listening to him on the BG Unblocked podcast for the last month, and he obviously has a lot of positivity and a lot of wisdom on that show. And I think the Eagles could use some of that in the locker room as well. So I think it makes a lot of sense, for a reunion. I think that both sides obviously have interest in it. So again, it's something that I think will be on all of our radars. And again, I think, like you mentioned it, you're gonna have to keep in track with PHLY the next couple of days, because I think we'll be all over this story.
All right, let's get beyond the BG of it all and talk about the game that is a half an hour away here, EJ. And on offense, I think all Eagles fans are a little bit worried about the prospect of this matchup between Brian Flores and what he does on defense versus Jalen Hurts and an offense that has struggled to protect against some of the noisy stuff that can come their way. Fran is going to break that down more specifically for us. But to me, and we talked about it all week, boy, does this feel like a game where you dial it back to last year and you are extremely run heavy. Is that what you expect today?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that, this is probably, play the hits from last year where you establish the run and you really build your offense around the run, use play action off of those run looks. I mean, the Vikings, the upshot of that aggressive defense, that being able, that their willingness to like walk guys up to the line of scrimmage and really kind of be chaotic, is that if you can block it up right, we've seen Saquon Barkley, isolated with the safety on the second level. If you can get past that first wave, all that traffic on the front end of the Vikings defense there. So I think that this is going to be probably an attempt to kind of get back to some of the stuff that they did well last year. Obviously the run game isn't in a place where it was last year, but I think the commitment to it could start to spring things free. And again, this Vikings defense, you can run against them. That's one of the things we talked a lot about earlier in the week, is that they are susceptible to the run. I'll be curious to see what types of runs. Is it just inside zones? Is it gap schemes? Is it counter runs? I think the Eagles can get creative in the run game, and that might be able to help them figure out how to get things going on the ground here.
So EJ, injury news, an interesting one today. A lot of big names look like they're all good to go here. What's the latest on Dickerson, Carter, and Quinyon?
Yeah, no, Landon Dickerson and Jalen Carter were both out there. I mean, Quinyon, yeah, he was full. He was also out there, but those two guys I had my eye on for a lot of the pre-snap or the pregame warm-up stuff to see how they looked. Landon Dickerson went through pregame warm-ups with Jordan Mailata. He looked fine. I think he'll play. Jalen Carter, same thing. He's out there with the defensive lineman. Did not look limited in any way, shape, or form. So I expect all those guys to be available. And I think especially, with Carter, I think that there's some real matchup advantages against that Vikings interior offensive line. They're banged up. They haven't had a lot of continuity on that front. I think I heard you guys talking about Carson Wentz earlier. I think that this is an opportunity to kind of bring out some of those bad habits the Eagles know Carson Wentz has if you can get to him with some of that interior pressure.
And EJ, the professor's in the chat right now, and thanks everybody in the chat. Let's hit a little thumbs up there. Says Jihad was getting a little bit of edge warm-ups pregame, according to some people. What do you think we see some different looks today?
Yeah, no, I think that you'll see him there. Now, how much and in what context I think will be really instructive here. Like, is he an early down guy for you at edge? Is it more of like that conventional like overhang defender, strong side linebacker, or do they give him some pass rush opportunities off the edge? I'll be curious. Vic Fangio doesn't seem totally convinced by the Jihad Campbell edge rusher experiment, so I think this is something that is kind of necessitated by the lack of bodies they have at edge rusher. Something that BG could address, here in the near future. But I do think that it'll be interesting to see if he gets some of those pass rush opportunities. I mean, in college, you look good doing it. Maybe unconventional in a certain regard, but I'll be interested to see. If they do sort of try to let him pin his ears back in some of those situations.
Yeah, the question to me is whether it involves Nakobe Dean also being on the field as a linebacker, which it sounds like we saw a little bit of in warmups, according to some people. So that is what's interesting to me. Back to the offensive side of the ball, you had a story on Friday, EJ, that I want to ask you about, which everybody can read if they become a diehard. Now's a good time to do so. You caught up one-on-one with AJ Brown, and there were some interesting comments he made. I wonder if you could shed some light on that for us.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to AJ about the scrutiny that comes with that has come with the last month or so. He is someone who's very aware of his online presence and the reaction to things that happen online. He knows when he says certain things in the media how they are perceived. So I was curious, especially as someone who's been outspoken about mental health and his past struggles with it. I was curious how he's navigated the last month, and he talked about in the past being willing to be the bad guy. The way he put it to me on Friday was being willing to move dust, kick up dust, if you will, and be the guy to kind of hold people accountable and push for changes with the offense, push for the offense to look a certain way. And it seems like he's kind of resigned to not doing that as much anymore. It seems like he said that he sort of feels like he's the only one that is fighting that battle. And he's sort of paid the price for it a little bit in the sense of like a lot of the negative reaction to some of the things that he's done earlier in the season. So it definitely seems like he called it a reset. And it involves, being off of social media or being away from social media more often than not, and really not being the person that's trying to kick up dust and maybe push for a different image of the Eagles offense. So, I mean, I think it's up to interpretation if that's a positive thing or a negative thing. I think it depends on what you want to see from the Eagles offense. Depends on how you want AJ to push for those things publicly or even privately even. So it's not really up to me to attribute where it goes from here, but I do think that it's a notable shift from AJ in that like he's not pushing for the offense. He didn't come out this week and say, you want your killers to do to dictate things. You don't want we're takers. We should take what we want. It was definitely a notice.
We're losing you a little bit, EJ. So I will ask you one more question before we let you go, and hopefully we can hear you. But just on the other side of the ball, handling Justin Jefferson, who Carson Wentz targets at a very high rate. What's your expectation for how the Eagles plan to attack Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, I mean, I would expect to see Quinyon follow him. Obviously, Quinyon's coming off the hamstring injury, and that maybe makes it a little bit more of a daunting matchup than it already is. But I think when you think about Adoree Jackson is going to be the starter on the other side, I feel like you just try to insulate Adoree as much as you can and have Quinyon follow him, trail him. But it's going to be a hard matchup. I mean, they're creative in how they use him, and he is obviously one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in the NFL. So he's going to get his, but I think that you feel good about Quinyon in that matchup, at least being able to contain him.
EJ, how's the Minnesota spread there in the press box? What are we working with?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like a Midwestern food city. It's right up my alley. I got in a little late last night, and I was like, I just want to get a cheeseburger. Like I know that it's going to be good here. You can trust the Midwesterners to get you a good burger. So and they did not disappoint.
And you can trust EJ Smith to give you some hard-hitting news on the Eagles. Thank you, EJ, on the Xfinity Mobile call.
Wait, real quick, what's your prediction?
I'm going to go with the Eagles. Do I feel good about it? Not really.
Yeah.
there's a lot of intangible, like inquantifiable stuff here with like the feeling around the team. But I do think that they've made a concerted effort to be a little bit looser, a little bit more confident. And I think that if they play to their potential or even close to it, they should be able to win this game. I think the run game will be big. And I'm not like Bo. I'm not alarmist about the defense. Maybe that'll come back to bite me. We can talk about it in the post-game show. So, yeah, I had the Eagles winning 24-17. Again, not my most confident prediction.
All right. Thank you very much, EJ. We will talk to you on the post-game show. Enjoy the game. And we here in the studio will take a quick break to hear from some sponsors. On the other side, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty with the Duff Man. Bet365 has 90 million users worldwide, and they live stream over 780,000 events each year with early payout offers across the NBA and NHL. Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting, and today they offer the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. If you want to watch the game tonight after the Eagles game on Sunday Night Football, there's a $365,000 jackpot where you place a $10 bet on the first touchdown scorer and get a split of that $365,000 in bonus bets if your player scores the final touchdown of the game, payable regardless of if their first touchdown scorer bet wins or loses. I mean, how could you pass that up? Breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. Sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. If your bet wins or loses, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The other day I was down in the city and Bo said, "Why don't you come by and watch some college football with me?" And I said, "Oh, great." I get over to his house and it's a total disaster. So many apps. I just felt like I was fan-fished. We couldn't find the right game. There was no interactive score bug on the side. I was like, dude, you got to get Xfinity. What are you doing? You can see for yourself, as a football fan, why Xfinity is the best. It's the ultimate sports destination. You can find the best games, your favorite teams, all in one place. It's next level. It's the perfect fan flex. You got all the action right there in your living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound, enhanced 4K, so it feels like you're in the stadium. So on top of that, you get the notifications, the stats, all right there on the TV. Best seat in the house every time. Next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions may apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box.
All right, we have talked all season about the struggles that the Eagles have had on offense, not handling blitzes, but really those sim pressures and guessing wrong about where the pressure is going to come from or how many people to keep in to protect. Well, in this game, Brian Flores is absolutely going to test the Eagles on that front. Fran Duffy from the film room breaks it all down for us right now.
All right, guys, we've talked all week about the issues that Brian Flores is going to be presenting Jalen Hurts in this Eagles passing game. So let's take a look at a good example of exactly what we've talked about, but then also how the Eagles have combated those kinds of plays on the back end in the passing game so far this season. We know that they've had some good flashes. It's just been a matter of consistency with Jalen Hurts and this passing attack down the field. So we'll start on the Minnesota end of things. And when you're talking about a Brian Flores defense, very often it's going to start with the pressure that they put on the quarterback up front. And a lot of that has to do with front alignments and varied pressure looks. Sometimes it's going to be a 5-man blitz. Sometimes it's going to be a 6-man blitz. But sometimes they only send 3 or 4 and they still find a way to be able to get home. Here's a good example against the Cincinnati Bengals where you're going to get pressure looks from the left-hand side, the defensive left, the offensive right. So they're trying to draw the attention of the protection scheme that way. And it works. You're going to get a 4-man slide that direction. But you're going to get the linebacker on that side that looked like he was going to blitz. He's actually going to drop out. And you're going to send a linebacker from the opposite side. Now, this essentially is going to be a 4-man rush because the defensive end on that side, on the opposite side, is also dropping out. So this is a sim pressure from Brian Flores. You're only sending 4. You're dropping out into a version of cover 2 on the back end. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But by sending this 4th rusher, you are now pulling the running back into the protection. You are forcing this running back to stay in to protect. And now this is where Brian Flores does a good job of playing games with the protection scheme, because not only is this going to be a sim pressure, but they're also running a stunt with the linebacker and the edge rusher to that side. The Eagles have had a lot of problems over the last couple of weeks dealing with stunts, especially on the left side after Landon Dickerson's injury. So this is something certainly to keep an eye on here in this football game, where you're going to have the linebacker. He is going to pin off the left tackle, and the pass rusher on that side is going to loop inside. And so now this requires communication here in the backfield with your running back and your offensive lineman. So when you have that on top of penetration from the defensive tackle spot, this quarterback doesn't have the ability to step up in the pocket. You've got a free run now with the linebacker, and he gets home for the sack. You've got zone coverage behind it, and we'll take a look now at what the Bengals quarterback faced here on this play. Jake Browning drops back, and it looks like it's going to be a single high defense, right? Well, this ends up rotating out of single high. It looks like it could be single high man, and instead it's going to be split safety zone. This is a version of invert cover 2, where you're going to get the deep safety before the snap. He's going to rotate over to the defensive right, and now it's going to be a version of cover 2, where the corner on the opposite side drops back to be the deep safety. And so this is going to cloud the picture for the quarterback, Jake Browning. He does not feel comfortable in getting rid of this ball to Jamar Chase, who is the initial read here on this play. You've got 2 underneath defenders right there in the passing lane. You already see now that the defensive tackle is right in the quarterback's lap. You have a free pass rusher off that stunt right in the quarterback's face. This happened extremely fast. And so now if you're the quarterback, you have to quickly diagnose, what coverage am I actually seeing? This is different than what I saw before the snap. And by the way, I've got 2 defenders right in my grill getting ready to chase me down to try and take me down for a sack on 3rd down. And so there's a lot to handle for the quarterback before the snap of the ball. The Eagles have had issues facing these kinds of sim pressures. We talked about the issues they've had with protecting against stunts as well. But Jalen Hurts has had some success this year in dealing with these safety rotations. The one play that stands out to me is against the Rams. The Rams tried something similar. It didn't have the sim pressure look that we talked about. It was just a straight 4-man rush with that Rams defensive line. But they did try an invert Tampa 2 coverage look against the Eagles back in week 3, and it ended up being a touchdown to Dallas Goedert. We can see here on this play, the Rams come out in a split safety look before the snap, but you're going to get the corner and the safety on that side. They exchange responsibilities here. So the safety is going to rotate down. The corner is going to drop back. The nickel corner on that side is going to drop as the underneath cover 2 corner, the Tampa 2 corner on that side. And so Jalen Hurts, he takes one peek here at the snap of the ball, sees that safety rotate down. He knows number 14 here, there is no way he's going to be able to get back to his landmark and be able to defend Dallas Goedert on this play. The Eagles are running 4 verts here, attacking the vertical part of the field. This is a great play call from Kevin Patullo in this situation. The Eagles expected some kind of invert potential coverage here, and Jalen Hurts makes a great post-snap read. He delivers this ball on the money to Dallas Goedert over the linebacker, and he walks into the end zone for a touchdown. If you're going to go up against this Brian Flores defense and all the funky looks that they are going to present, there are going to be opportunities to attack down the field. Are Kevin Patullo and Jalen Hurts going to be on the same page in terms of anticipating when those coverage looks are going to come? And then can Hurts and the rest of the Eagles offense execute in those given situations? You want to be able to try, and it's going to happen on these high leverage moments. It's going to happen 3rd down, red zone. You're going to, in those big moments, can you go out and execute? Too often in the second half against Denver, Vance Joseph will also toy with quarterbacks with the pressure looks that he can present. The Eagles did not operate well in those situations, in those high leverage moments. In this game, on the road, can Jalen Hurts execute? It's going to be one of the determining factors in the outcome of this football game.
Holiday steals are here at Ashley. It's the perfect time to get your home ready for the season and save big. From stunning dining sets for all your holiday feasts to super cozy sectionals perfect for movie nights, we have everything you need to make the season magical. And the more you shop, the more you save, with up to 25% off store-wide, or take advantage of our special financing with 5 years no interest. Discover great deals in-store and online only at Ashley.
If your home needs a little TLC, then you got to go talk to my friends over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. And who are we kidding? The home always needs a little bit of an upgrade, a little bit of a repair. Maybe you're thinking about dreaming that next big vacation for the family. TrueMark Financial's HELOC Select just got even better. Rates just dropped, making it more affordable to put your home's equity to work. Maybe you need a new kitchen, a big repair, knock out some debt. With the HELOC Select, you can access your cash all at once or just when you need it. Total flexibility, just like a good game plan. Make it happen today. Visit one of TrueMark's 24 area locations, or you can head to truemark.com/PHLY and get in the game today. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender, NMLS 404938. Thank you, TrueMark.
Holiday steals are here at Ashley. It's the perfect time to get your home ready for the season and save big, from stunning dining sets for all your holiday feasts to super cozy sectionals, perfect for movie nights. We have everything you need to make this season magical. And the more you shop, the more you save, with up to 25% off store-wide, or take advantage of Ashley's special financing with 5 years no interest. Discover great deals in-store and online only at Ashley. All right, back in the PHLY Eagles kickoff show. Jamie, time to get into our best bets.
Oof.
Closing in on kickoff time.
The Eagles offense has been tough sledding this year.
It has. Yeah, you would have been smart to fade them.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we have in willing to do that, but let's go to you first.
All right, I'm going to kick it off. Justin Jefferson, he's good at football.
Yeah, I got a Justin Jefferson thing too.
I'm taking Quinyon frightens me a little bit with the hamstring, or maybe
Yeah.
it wasn't a hamstring last week and they just wanted to get him. I don't know, but like coming back that quickly for a twitchy, fast player covering Justin Jefferson probably a lot today frightens me. I'm going to take Justin Jefferson over 90 receiving yards. I'm going to die on this hill. I'm Saquon. This is the day it gets going. I think they're going to overcorrect. I think he's going to run the ball a lot today. You can attack this Vikings defense on the ground. I'm taking over 80 rushing yards for Saquon. That's in plus money at plus 110. And then I'm going old Zach Bond. I'm going to take over 7.5 tackles today for old Zach. What do you got, Bo?
Well, we were thinking very similarly, because I also have a Saquon bet and a Justin Jefferson bet. I went Saquon over 74.5 rushing yards, just a little bit less than you.
Yeah.
I like what you did to get the plus odds. I'm
Yeah.
at
I
minus
always
110.
tinker with the milestone just to see what I can get
Why
plus.
not?
I'm like,
I really feel like the Eagles are going to go into this game being like, we need to run the ball.
Yeah.
We are going to stay committed to it. And sometimes that means the Eagles, it feels like they're running up against a brick wall and they are too late to adjust. But I feel like that's their game plan today. I also don't have high expectations for the Eagles being able to stop Justin Jefferson throughout this game. And Carson Wentz does target him even more than J.J. McCarthy did. So I have longest reception over 27.5 yards for Justin Jefferson. I mean, if they can get him matched up on Adoree Jackson, that feels a little bit like easy money. And then I'm going with in the passing game, I like a DeVonta Smith game.
Nice.
Here. So I'm going over 4.5 receptions plus 105.
Slim Reaper.
For Smitty in this game.
And then the Bet365 right on the homepage there. If you go to the Eagles game, you'll see the PHLY custom Eagles same game parlay. This bad boy's juiced up to plus 850. Need an Eagles money line. They can do it. Come on. Justin Jefferson over 100 yards. They can still win, and Justin Jefferson can get his. Saquon Barkley, 80-plus rushing yards.
All right. If you were in the chat, make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribed, all that good stuff. And remember, we will be here at halftime to talk about what happens in the first half. And, of course, Super Bowl champion Vinny Curry joining us for the post-game show afterwards. But before we sign off, Jamie, let's get to our predictions. How are you feeling?
I don't like what I'm about to say, but I'm riding with the birds today.
Uh-oh.
I'm kind of like EJ. I don't have a lot of confidence in what I'm saying, but I was very similar to him. I think he said 24-17 Eagles. I think it's going to be like let's go 27-20 Eagles win. Saquon has a solid day. I think the 10 days off mentally, physically is going to do him some good. This Vikings team is solid, don't get me wrong, but they're not like world beaters.
I kind of feel like, tell me if you agree, if it's a close game, the Eagles win, and if the Eagles lose, it's big.
Yeah. I agree with you there.
Yeah. Oof. I don't know. I mean, it's the Eagles are favored by 1.5.
They are a road favorite.
You guys both going Eagles means I feel like I kind of have to take the Vikings. Maybe it's the purple Xfinity Lounge over here. Ugh.
I don't want to do this post game if they lose to Carson Wentz and the Vikings.
I know.
It's just gonna be you and Vinny Curry.
You know, and you also wonder, like, given the BG of it all, does a win or a loss affect?
Sure. I mean, there is not ink
What
to
happens
paper
there?
on that. This is the season, Bo. This is it. Like, this is the pivotal point of the year.
I can zoom out and say, I feel like even if they lose this game, if they win next week against the Giants and get to the bye 5-3, I think they can be fine. The NFC is very muddled. Nobody's jumping out. I can intellectually say that, but boy, if they lose the third straight game and it's to Carson Wentz, this city is going to feel like it's ready to explode.
Yeah. I mean, I'm wearing a world bleeping champ shirt.
I know.
Like, they need to get back to some form of a good football team. This is critical. I feel like just for their mentals alone in that locker room, they got to go out and win. Like, this is huge.
Birds win 17-16.
Woo!
A low-scoring game. They're able to stop Carson Wentz.
I think he's going to...
On the final drive of the game, the Vikings need a field goal to win.
Blocked.
And no, Carson is hit from behind.
Fumble.
Sack, fumble, loses the game. Moro Ojimo makes the play.
Oh, all right. Tyler, write down that time code in case Bostradamus is on. I think he is going to force a hero ball interception today.
Yeah.
I was driving in, and in my mind, it was Zach Bond. So we'll see what
There you
happens.
go. All right. That'll do it for the PHLY Eagles pregame show. Thanks to Tyler for making it happen behind the scenes. Thanks to EJ and Fran for joining us. We will talk to you at halftime. Enjoy the game, everybody. For Jamie, I'm Bo. And as always,
Birds.
we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.